Hi, I'm Jose DeGracia, and I'm reviewing Ghostbusters 2016. This is a level-headed review. Okay, to get started, let me tell you, the people that don't know who I am, just a little bit about my history with Ghostbusters in general. I was born in 1987. So the only thing I really knew about was the cartoon at the time, and I used to watch that shit all the time. Apparently I was super excited about Ghostbusters 2 when that was coming out in 1989. I really enjoyed the new video game, and I also really enjoy the comics. So wanted to present a review that's from a fan standpoint, but from somewhere that's really level-headed compared to all the just vitriol and hate that you see online from people just dogpiling on this movie for no reason. There's going to be a lot of spoilers in this review, so warning ahead of time if you haven't seen it. You can skip ahead to the end. I went into this movie with a blank slate. This whole negative outcry is ridiculous. Women are funny, so just get over yourselves. Just because it's not the same thing doesn't mean it's bad.
Man, Aaron and Abby are my heroes. They believed in the existence of the paranormal when it wasn't even cool.
Ditto. Before meeting those ladies, I only had myself to look up to.
If you want to experience what Ghostbusters 3 would have been, go back and play the 2009 video game.
Egon, remind me, why are we driving aimlessly in the fog?
The final node, Beckman. Close it, and we seal the mandala, trapping the ghosts inside.
And if you want a continuation of the story with the same characters, please read the IDW Ghostbusters comic book. Starting off, I want to say that it's not as funny as I or anybody else would have really hoped. Yeah, there's laughs. With the humor being very family safe, it's not as funny as it could have been. With someone like Paul Feig directing, with Melissa McCarthy, Leslie Jones, Kristen Wiig, Kate McKinnon, all of their senses of humor, like all put together, make for really good comedy, but it's not exactly family safe. So if you want to see an R-rated type comedy like in Bridesmaids or Spy, it's not exactly the same thing. And I feel like that's sort of a directive from on high of the studio executives, letting them know, hey, we're trying to make merchandise, we're trying to make this a franchise for the whole family. So it doesn't go to places where it could be. There's definitely like jokes in there that almost seem childish. Like one of the first jokes in the movie is about a queef, and you can do without that. So some of the jokes fall flat. Melissa McCarthy and Kristen Wiig are fantastic in the roles. They have a good chemistry, they know each other, and they can bounce jokes off each other left and right, and it's fantastic. Leslie Jones plays up the black woman stereotype, and some people find it offensive, some people don't like it whatsoever, but I feel like why else would you cast Leslie Jones if that's not what you're gunning for? You know, that's her type of comedy. That's how she plays it up. She's a large, loud black woman, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Excuse me? I'm sorry. Is that how you think I talk? Is that your little impression of me?
Kate McKinnon is absolutely my favorite in the movie. She's silly and funny, and the problem I have with her character though is that she can just magically create weaponry instantly, like even when it feels like there's absolutely no time in between the last time she came up with something and now is, oh, here's all this other stuff I also designed, try it out. Which I get the concept of trying to move on, but I feel like there's a time skip in that point, and it's not exactly clear. The editing in this movie is all over the place. Sometimes it's a little bit slower, sometimes it's a much faster pace. It's a little bit more frenetic than the original Ghostbusters, obviously. What else am I going to compare it to, really? One weird thing I noticed is that catching ghosts wasn't nearly a priority as destroying them. It's a cool concept to come up with a sort of wood chipper device that sucks ghosts in and then just spews out goop in the back. That's cool and all for something like a video game, but it kind of muddles the idea that they're trying to catch ghosts and study ghosts if they're just going to destroy them right off the bat. Some plot holes in the story I want to bring up. The bad guy, the antagonist in this movie, is just some guy whose whole character can be described as cultish weirdo, and there's really nothing to it. He's only in 3 scenes, and then he's gone and replaced by a possessed Chris Hemsworth. So there's really nothing to this particular bad guy. He's not going to be very memorable, and the fact that he's replaced with the logo by the end of the movie is pretty telling. Like, there's so many different places you can go with a cultish weirdo that I feel like a lot of opportunities for both humor and horror were lost. There's also a point in the film where Erin gets all of her Ghostbuster gear and a proton pack after Slimer has hijacked Ecto 1 and driven off with it. Meanwhile, she was separated from the group and didn't have any of her stuff with her. So either she ran back to the station to get her stuff and then came back to wherever they were. I mean, like I said, editing's all over the place here. Perhaps it's in a deleted scene. I don't know. I'm probably not going to know until the Blu-ray comes out anyway. In like a month. Near the end of the movie, there's a scene where Kristen Wiig dives in to a portal to save Melissa McCarthy. And as she's pulling her out in a pretty bad effect scene, let's be honest, something happens and then they suddenly have gray hair. And then they're pulled out of the portal and they're fine. They're like, oh my God, what year is it? Nothing really comes of it. There's no consequences or anything really leading to anything else. Just another sort of unnecessary thing. The cameos in the movie were fine, and it's honestly the best we're gonna get. There's no possible way that you're going to be getting a Ghostbusters 3 with the original cast. A, Harold Ramis is dead. B, Bill Murray does not want to really participate in anything other than these cameos. I believe he said before that if he's going to be in another Ghostbusters movie, he's going to be on screen for about 2 minutes and then killed. He actually said that, and that happens in this movie, which is fine. Whatever, Bill Murray doesn't want to do it, that's okay. I've got the Ghostbusters game, which has Bill Murray in it. It's literally 8 to 9 hours, and it's fully voiced by the cast. There's really no reason for anyone to hate on it. It's available on Steam for like less than $10 right now, so there's really no excuse. The cinematography in the film is fine for what it is. It's totally adequate. The best points are when action actually happens. The actual ghost busting, all the different weapons, and the scene in Times Square where they're fighting all the ghosts is fine. But obviously you can still tell that they're on a sound stage. Like, I'm obviously in my living room with a green screen, and it didn't really have the sort of like dirty, authentic New York feel that the original Ghostbusters movie had. New York was almost a separate character in the previous movies, and you could feel that, and especially in the end of Ghostbusters 2, they're literally walking in the symbol of New York and hope and all that, and the Statue of Liberty walking down the street. And using the city's goodwill and good energy to fight the bad guy.
I'm so glad I finally found you. Just that one in a million, girl. And
New York in this is relegated to a lot of CG backdrops. It just doesn't have the same kind of feel. Not really the same sort of New York heart in it. I did have a problem with the end credits bumper scene. If you're just gonna bring up Zool and then rehash everything that you did before, why even do a whole brand new reboot? Why do the same thing over and over again just for a new generation? You can take it in lots of different directions. You can do different cool things with it. There's no need to go back and retread and do the same thing over again. That was the problem with the Amazing Spider-Man films, is that they're just retreading it and people got bored with it by the end of the second movie. It's still funny. It's still good family fun for everybody. You can safely take your kids to this and not be embarrassed to have them there. And they could really enjoy it, honestly. If I was a kid, this would be a fantastic movie for me. The inside jokes and Easter eggs and cameos are great to see. It's nice to see Dan Aykroyd doing something besides convincing everyone that UFOs are real. The music is fine. I'm totally cool with a dubsteppy Fall Out Boy redone Ghostbusters theme song, as long as Ghostbusters exists, I'm happy in some way, shape, or form. I'm not complaining that this is ruining my childhood or any of that nonsense. Childhood was ruined a long time ago, and it has nothing to do with Ghostbusters. Do not blame this movie for your ruined childhood. But honestly, I really feel like you should go see this movie, regardless of your feelings on it. Go in with a blank slate. See if you just enjoy yourself. See if you enjoy yourself smiling or laughing at the movie. There's nothing wrong with that. You can go have a good time. Holy shit. Please like, follow, subscribe, comment, do whatever you want to do. Just no death threats, please. Alright. Thanks.